Ready or not.
I see him every day.
Oh, God. I tell you.
Then we're gonna go to Washington.
We are now live streaming.
You know,
Atlanta.
I mean, and a lot of people listen and they go, well, he was so physically fit. You could be the fittest person on earth.
Just confirming that you were on the
You don't see
register.
the inside part.
Executive sessions with the
And if you don't do that, those annual checkups,
the next 15, 20 minutes.
that's why they recommend it.
You don't just stay where you got security.
And all the family was
A
there.
lot of planning. Changes.
Yeah, he was a marathon he was gonna be doing, yeah. I know.
Oh, yeah, good.
His meeting with his boss, his regular meeting with his boss falls at 4:30 on Tuesday,
Yeah.
and he can't move it.
Oh, yeah, I have one of my bosses.
Is he going to get off anytime soon, or we don't know?
Well, I know he knows what time the meeting starts. But if you wanted to start, we could, just with the pledge and the call, roll call and all
A
that.
lot of memberships. We paid out about $15,000.
Okay. Probably ought to start.
You know that we have, you know who the pastor is? You know the pastor that's doing
Yes, I see the
the
pastor.
We're all over the country.
Pastor Collins.
Are we gonna convene without our?
He's on the phone.
Okay, yeah.
We have a mayor pro tem.
We'll convene the meeting
Wait a minute, I'm sorry,
Hang on.
at,
let me start my recording, so sorry.
You're recording.
There we go.
we'll start the meeting here at 5:01 and roll call.
Sheena Martinez, District 1.
Paul Carey, District 2.
Bill King, District 3, Mayor Pro Tem.
Todd Sherhart, District 4.
Herb Dyer, District 5.
Should be noted, the mayor is just down the hallway, but he's trying to finish a phone call, so he'll come in when he gets off. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Invocation, Pastor Cobb. Thank you.
If I can, thank you. I'd like to read from Proverbs 16, verse 9, and it reads, "In their hearts, human plan their courses, but the Lord establishes their steps." Would you pray with me? Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this recent rain that you've given us, Lord. I pray that you would continue to shower us with your waters from heaven. Father, we thank you for tonight in this city council, and we lift them up to you. And we pray, Lord, that you will establish their steps, lead and guide their directions, and provide them your wisdom. Father, we pray that every decision that's made here tonight will be made in unity and in oneness, according to your will and your ways. Father, bless the city and its staff, the businesses, the residents, the schools, and our churches and their people and their families. Father, continue to show your favor. We ask and pray these things in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen. Amen. God bless you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let the minutes reflect the mayor just walked in. Thank goodness.
Phil, can you tell me a time?
11:05. Excuse me. That's why you don't make the mayor.
That's very good.
Thanks for getting us launched up.
I still know how you get there with that.
He's got his thing right in front of him though, too.
I can do it.
Oh, for the time? We were like, the clock. I was like, well, you got that in front of you.
I just don't know how you see how you get 11:05 out of that.
The glare.
He's in training.
He's in training.
We still have some points.
All right, so next item, thank you. Thanks, Phil. The next item is citizens' comments. Do we have anybody that wants to speak for citizen comments? All right, great.
Next, we have the consent agenda, which is minutes for April 12th, 2022, regular called council meeting. Do I have a, it was actually pointed out to me about Robert's Rules of Orders in terms of taking motions. How do we do that properly so that everybody gets a fair shake at that?
What do you mean?
Do we
by that?
call for a motion? 'Cause-
That's the way I've always seen it done, is that you state the item that's being read, and then you ask for a motion.
Okay,
And then there's a list of motions that people can make. Usually you only hear one or two, but there's a
Gotcha.
whole list of them.
so do you ask, is it that you, and I'm sorry to take a moment, I just wanted to make sure that I got this clarified. So do you ask for a show of hands for anybody that wants to make a motion, or how do you do that?
No, you just ask for a motion, and then it's whoever's fastest to the mic.
Okay,
Phil has the record. I don't know what the record stands at.
I don't think that's correct.
No, we
The
abstain
person
to
who
him.
makes the motion
We have to
has to
consent.
be recognized by the mayor before he makes the motion. Otherwise, it becomes a race.
Right, but,
Who
okay,
gets
so,
to make a motion?
do I have a motion that someone says,
Stick
yes,
your hand up
yeah?
and you wait to be recognized. That's what you're supposed to do.
Okay, I've not seen that.
Okay, so what I will say that that's the manners in an orderly way to conduct
okay.
business, I mean, you know, an orderly way, but Mayor, you know, you could say, you know, do I have a motion? And,
Somebody just starts speaking?
right,
Okay.
and the mayor will normally, you know, allow them to continue to speak, and if not, you can call them down and say, you know, otherwise.
All right. Well, if it's all right with you, let's, just out of courtesy, when I ask for a motion, if you don't mind, just raise your hand if you'd like to make a motion, and then I'll call on somebody and try and spread it out evenly. Is that all right?
Great idea.
Does that work? Sure. Okay, great. Would anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. I'll defer.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Great. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Cool. Thanks, everybody.
And as long as we're on the topic of running the meeting and efficient and that sort of thing, the way I've seen it done in the past, I think, you know, again, for orderly conduct, person makes a motion, you recognize that person, they make their motion, you ask a second, there is a second, and then when those two motions are made, you say, okay, Councilman Dyer's made a motion to accept the minutes, we have a second from Councilman Carey, all in favor, and so you actually repeat that who made the motion, what the motion was, and who made the second, and then you ask for the sustaining vote.
Okay.
And that's probably best in case you have two people that say,
Where it helps most, whether it's in this board or another board, where it's most effectual is for the secretary. The person who's sitting there listening doesn't always hear who said second, and knowing just by voice who said second doesn't always work. So that's one way that helps with that. Yeah, that's okay. You got it.
Sorry.
No, it's,
That's
oh,
his-
I was thinking,
If you don't mind,
I got this on,
if
sorry.
you don't, I can't see your hand over unless you stick it up high. So if I look down there and see your hands up, I'm not gonna make a motion.
Or wave it way out in front of you.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was my training on
Flags.
pivot tables, and I know that you guys are all very interested in pivot tables.
Fascinating.
Share it with us?
Yeah.
not anymore, not since I
It's not on the
retired.
agenda, I can't do it. You people are unruly.
Sweet and innocent, don't know what you're talking about.
All right, let's see if this is it properly. There we go. All right. Well, that was easy. All right, next item is mayor's report. We'll start with, what we're talking about today is TxDOT, some traffic updates, some fun going on and coming up in Castroville.
Closed caption?
The citywide cleanup, progress on streets, and then trimming trees over power lines. All right, so the first item is TxDOT updates. Tomorrow is our meeting of the Castroville Area Traffic Coalition. So we've been getting together at least once a quarter, sometimes more often as necessary, to make sure that everybody's staying on the same page and that we are continuing to work on traffic relief where necessary. So on the Traffic Coalition, for those of you who haven't heard this, It's TxDOT, the county, the city, the school district, other community members, stakeholders, business owners, Arnie, of course, because he helps out with everything. So it's a bunch of people that come together and try and work this out. What's going on, and part of this is keeping the northern route moving forward. We do need traffic relief, especially as Alsatian Oaks comes up, and so we've been working pretty diligently on that. Upgrades for Highway 90. I posted this on social media a couple of times. What they're doing, you may have seen it last night. I believe they started last night. They're going through, and in this, I put this area up right here, if you can see that. You got Sammy's right there, and this is 90 and 471, Bill Miller's over here. So they're going through and doing core samples. They're looking at doing some upgrades to that. They've already upgraded the lights over at September Square, over on Fiorello, Florence, and Alamo area. And they're looking at doing some pretty substantial improvements over here. They estimate that, I think we're going to increase the traffic flow by something like 25%, or reduce the amount of traffic by 25%, because it helps it flow through faster. So they're working on that right now. Just wanted to let everybody know what was going on with it, and that they are doing shutdowns. It'll be now through probably next Tuesday night. They're not going to be working on it on Friday night and Saturday night, just because there's additional evening traffic then, but it starts at 9 p.m., 9 at night, and it stops at 5 in the morning. So there's just some intermittent lane closures during that time. All right, Fun and Castrol. So what does community look like? Community looks like people volunteering, working together, doing really cool stuff, and it's really about making sure that, you know, that we all do our parts in this. And we've had a lot of that going on. We had the backyard concert, very successful. That was the 7th annual backyard concert. I think we raised, what was it, $6,000 or $7,000? $8,000. I think that my wife took care of like the majority of that with us.
She was aggressive.
She was aggressive. She's like, look at everything we won. I'm like, honey, we have to pay for it. We had the Medina Cares concert and fundraiser out at Paradise Canyon last week. I got the honor of going and I got to read to some second graders for Earth Day over at Castroville Elementary, and it was a lot of fun. It was kind of cool. We had Easter activities going on all over. We had the scholarship dinner put on last week over at the
Legion Hall?
Yeah, that was last
The 8th.
Friday? Yeah, last Friday. We had Go Blue Day. We had the plant sale that I missed, but it sounded like that was very successful. That was to benefit the Angels Crossing Foster Care and Adoption Agency. We have Boots and Paws coming up, I believe, on Thursday. And so there's more detail. Oh, the Chamber of Commerce is going to be really busy. They've got, I think it's next week, they've got the, next week or the weekend? No, it's next week. They've got the luncheon, and then they've got the what do you call it? The Beer and Wine Fest.
Yeah, the
on Friday.
luncheon's going to be held at the Legion Hall.
And the Alsatian Festival coming up this Saturday, 4 to 11. It's a great time. And if you want to get more information, a lot of these things are on the Castroville, on the Chamber of Commerce website, and I've been trying to ask people to go there and fill out all the details on there. That way we've got a central location. I think that people have been doing a great job of that, and the Chamber's been doing a great job of supporting that. So lots of fun things going on. Citywide cleanup, that also starts on Saturday. So this is sponsored by Code Enforcement Department. Curl, if you haven't gotten a chance to meet Curl, she is not only been helping us get better about code enforcement, about staying on top of our ordinances and keeping people accountable to following those, she also volunteers her time. She looks for people that need help, and she's the type that would say, okay, you're out of compliance and I see that you need help with it, so let's find people to help you out. And so that's kind of what they're doing here. So if you want to volunteer for it, come on out to Public Works this Saturday at 8 a.m. I'll be there, and we'll get some good stuff done together. Bulk pickup starts. Make sure not to exceed 4 feet long, 6 feet in diameter, or 50-pound bundles. There's a lot of people that have been putting out the very long ones or some really, really heavy logs, and they can't always pick that up. Details available at Public Works, 830-931-4090. Street work. So this is, something that Scott had sent out as an update to us. So this is done in, for those of you who don't know, we pay in this Commissioner's District, we pay an extra, what is it, a 2%?
5 cents.
5 cents? For 5 cents per $100 evaluation, and it's specifically for streets. And because of that, you'll see that we've got some of the nicest streets in the county in this area, and part of that is that they help us out with street work that needs to happen inside of the city. So this is going to be a county project. It's going to be on Amelia Street. I think that did the door hangers already go out for that?
I believe so.
Okay, so the door hanger, we're trying to, staff is doing a great job of trying to get better each time. There hasn't been a ton of road work going on here for a while, and so I think that we have some opportunities for improvement, and I think that they've been stepping up to that and really trying to address that. Putting out door hangers, focusing one block at a time to minimize impact. So looking forward to having more and more streets taken care of. Trimming trees. So this is a bit hard to see, but if you're able to see the green spots, those are the areas that have been identified as targets. So the trimming of the trees, that was also, you sent out a postcard on that?
Yeah, well, so this first map is actually where tree trimming's already taken place in 2018. It was the last time that we did it. We went out for bid, I think 3 years ago, and got no responses, and then nothing has been done. So we're very behind on tree trimming. And part of the way we're accomplishing that now is with our cooperative agreement with Medina Electric, and we're going through their vendors to get that done. So this is the map from before. Some, and not all of these areas actually got done in 2018. Most of that got done, but not all of it. And I'm not entirely sure exactly where it was done and where it wasn't. The next map I sent you is the one of the area that will be done now. Do you have another map?
I missed that one.
Okay, I'm sorry. I do have it in an email, but there's another map that shows the area. Where we'll be starting principally is down on Lower Lacoste and Constantinople. There are some that's a major point of connection for the city, and it happens to go through an area where we've got some very old trees with a lot of big limbs that are right in those power lines that desperately need to be cut back. So that's a high priority for us. We'll hit that area, and then we're just going to go as far as we can go with the rest of it. And unfortunately, a lot of those green areas are on the new map as well, simply because trees grow and their limbs grow back. So you cut them back 1 year, and next spring or even the following spring, you're right back to where you started sometimes.
So that's what they're working on.
Yep.
And that is the end of mine. Cool. Did you pass that back over? Thanks. All right, next, let's do the city council liaison reports. Start with District 5.
I didn't attend the library meeting because the date was changed at the last minute,
Oh, that's right.
so I can't give you a report on what happened.
We did have a great Love Your Library event. Angela and staff did a great job of putting that on. We had tremendous turnout. We had staff. Luckily, my wife wasn't quite as successful at that silent auction. But I think Deborah was.
Yeah.
So it was a really good time to see people
And a
together.
good opportunity to honor Mike Estes and his dedication to the library.
Airport didn't have a meeting in April. We're gonna have one in May,
Great.
so nothing to report.
All right, thank you.
HLC, Historic Landmark Commission, has not had a meeting since I gave my last report.
Neither planning and zoning nor the zoning board of adjustments has had a meeting since our last meeting, so nothing to report.
We had our Parks Board meeting last week. The Parks Board received a letter from Tony Gonzalez regarding support for a new Castroville Parks and Rec community building. Ernie with EMC decided to try and pursue federal funds for up to 35% of the total funds needed. The Parks Board is going to write a support letter and send it back to Tony Gonzalez. Devin gave a review of what we approved at the last city council meeting for Lions Park. He also stated that moving forward with the restrooms with CXT building for $104,000. The splash pad, apparently the company that we were initially looking at is having problems, and that's all he said. So we are switching to a local company in San Antonio. They're called Interpool, and they're being very positive, and so more to come on that. We've got regional park, the sports lighting. They're going to be breaking ground on putting in the sports lighting May 16th and plan on finishing in June. Also part of it, they will be placing breakaways and three-ways for future power uses in that. Easter went well, no major issues except for speeding, and they had to get on some people for putting lighting fires in the grills with no grate or no cover. Devin said they made $14,155 for the charge to enter into the park. They saw double the trash, but it makes sense. They had the one-way for the event where they were coming out the back way onto Amelia, and that was very well received. So they're looking at doing that for the rest of the events.
On Alsace,
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that very well.
That's your favorite,
For swimming pool.
But it was good, what they're doing.
They have submitted, for the swimming pool building, they have submitted grants, but won't find out until October whether or not they get any of them. And they're looking at the total cost of correcting the swimming pool building at $2 million. Devin is working with Hill Country Alliance for getting the dark sky lighting approval. They're looking for at any future park with the new building, neighborhoods and that coming in, wanting utilities underground if feasible. That way, if we have soccer or that kind of stuff, we don't have to worry about soccer balls or what have you, or baseballs hitting the power lines. They are working on the dedication for Sula's tree out at the park. More to come on that.
So great.
Next month agenda, they are going to review the different trees that we have out there for as far as dedication. And right now we have 2 trees that are ready for dedication. The Easter egg hunt was a lot of fun. Next year, Helen Delavan said that we should look at possibly getting a photo booth. And it will only be held on the soccer field. The vendor gave the park $250 donation. The Bluegrass concert, the auction raised $3,183 in proceeds. They had 130 people attend. The gate took in about $2,000. They had Fitwell did a chicken run, and they presented a $3,000 check to the Friends of Regional Park. Local produce was sold. The honey guy was out there. It was a well-received event.
That was Trent?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
And then this past Saturday was volunteer work day out at the park. Future agenda item, they are looking at doing a dedication for Joe Winkler at the pool since he was so active in the swim team and that kind of stuff. So they're getting ideas together on how to do a dedication at the pool for Joe Winkler, whether it be a plaque or a bench underneath a covering that with his name on it, that kind of stuff. So, but otherwise, that's it.
Great, thank you.
quite a bit.
I know, the Parks Board made up for all the rest of the boards. All right, the next item is presentation and recognition of the winner of the annual Poppy Poster Contest.
And that is being postponed, right?
That has been,
The reason we asked that it be postponed is the artist was not available when she first told us that she would be, and so possibly at the next meeting.
sounds great.
May
That's
10th.
it. Yes.
All right, thanks, Artie. Next item is executive session. The city council will meet in closed session under provisions of the Texas Government Code, section 551.071, entitled Consultation with Attorney, and section 551.085, entitled Deliberation Regarding Economic Development Negotiations. The items being discussed are Happy Hills, West End Wings DA, Deal or No Deal DA Development Agreement, West Side Story Development Agreement. We're going to go into executive session at 5:26.
Live stream's still on.
Are these like code names for developments, or is that actual code name? Is there a reason why they're code names? Is there a way to find out what those makes sense. She wasn't prepared for yeah, unless until it's publicly ready. Yeah.
What ain't right is,
That's all right.
my wife's gonna be on me for being a little late.
That's okay.
See you later. They do. Thank you.
I
who's normal for that? Oh, yeah, yeah, okay.
Like this.
Oh, sure, that was the only, I think you had that, you had really, that's the one goal, they come on fire, I don't think we got it wrong. Yes. I wonder why there was always a drop off.
that actually changed. Weird to really say before we did all that, you know, I think I've done. And one of the water crossing, she had met for some reason, they say feel out and was along front of this way, or just for yes, and she noticed, let her go walking in.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, this is good. Perfect.
Yeah, Phil got it for me.
It's freestanding.
Oh, yeah, you can count it all. Yeah, I got her text message, yeah, thinking. Helen wants me to do a correction on the Parks report.
Oh, uh-oh.
She texted you?
Yep.
Too late.
No. It's an easy correction.
Yep. You don't always make it out of executive session.
For the correction, do you want me to wait till we're back in session?
Yes.
Just have a, okay. All right. I was just seeing what the rules are.
All right, we are returning from executive session at 6:32. Let the record reflect that Councilman Shearhart did not make it back. So he's not with us in this session. I have to say that properly. He's no longer with us in this session. He left at 6:05. Baseball calls.
Lesson learned, don't piss off the rest of the
Okay, consider and possible actions resulting from items posted and legally discussed in executive session. I believe we have no action there, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Next item is consider impossible action on a petition received from Creekside subdivision residents for the city to provide options for upgrades to the water system and instruct the city administrator and city attorney to provide a legal assessment for such. If it's okay, I'd like to actually read the petition. Do you mind? Sure. So, dear Castroville City Council, on Tuesday, April 5th, 2022, several Creekside subdivision residents met with Mayor Darren Schroeder and City Manager Scott Dixon to discuss the ongoing water situation in the Creekside neighborhood. During this meeting, a partial list of water deficiencies within the neighborhood were brought to the residents' attention. They were that contractor did not install temporary blow-offs for hydraulic testing and sampling, no inline valves were installed, no compaction or bedding material was used under the pipe, no provisions were being made to disinfect the pipe, incorrect pipe material was used, incorrect service line material was used, pipes were too small and water pressure too low. This was very concerning, as most residents only had knowledge of the low water pressure and not all the other deficiencies outlined above. The residents of Creekside subdivision would like to explore an option presented during the meeting with the mayor and the city manager. Creekside residents would like to petition the city to provide the cost to replace the entire subdivision's water system under some type of reimbursement agreement. The Creekside residents are hopeful the city council will take the necessary steps to consider this matter, including seeking legal advice regarding the methods and the means of establishing some type of assessment or repayment mechanism, and sharing the details with Creekside residents. Once the cost is provided, Creekside Homeowners Association will communicate to all Creekside residents and vote before moving forward with any repairs. We are hopeful that you will support this request and help us live in a safe environment with clean water and a dependable water system. And that is sincerely Creekside Homeowners Association, and that's Linda Carrillo and Denise Lozano. So the item in front of us is looking to authorize the city administrator to research and identify potential solutions for the Creekside subdivision water system as outlined in the petition. Scott, did you want to address anything else on that?
I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I don't expect to be, the reason it's coming to the council is, basically you have a portion of the city's water system that's requesting that we look at a specific investment in making needed repairs. And we know that we've got needed repairs throughout the community, and we know that this is, when we look at our current CIP, that they aren't on that list in part because they're not that high of a priority in that respect. Not that they're not important, but because we've just got main trunk lines and other even more serious issues in some places. So the kind of the purpose of this is to elevate the priority is to look at, well, would it be legal to do some type of cost reimbursement? That's part of what we would be approving, is to look at that. And then secondarily, for me and working with the engineer to figure out, okay, what does that look like? What does that cost? Because I literally have no idea. But we would look at, okay, what all is needed out there, and what could a replacement system look like? How much would it cost? What would the elements be? What would the scope of that work be? And then talk to our attorney about what the legal basis is. So I didn't want to start that project without, one, having this kind of open dialogue and discussion of the council, and two, you being aware that staff is being a little bit diverted in looking at this other issue.
All right. Does anybody have any question about it? I think that everybody's familiar
You have a
with
hand
this.
to your right.
Do you envision outsourcing this to an engineering firm to go out and give us a proposal, or not a proposal, but a design and an estimate of what it should cost, or are we going to try to do it with our own staff?
I don't want to do it with my own staff. I know that. I really don't have an estimator on staff
So we need to
I can rely on.
allocate some
But
money for you.
a little bit. And I think what we do is just get K-Freeze to look at that neighborhood, and I mean, we've got a lot of information about the system that was built. So I know a lot about that. I've got links, I've got, where they were, I've got a pretty good idea of what that system looks like, and we can convey that all to them and ask them to give us a pretty good cost estimate of what that looks like for replacement.
And I think the bigger thing that we're looking at is the the residents are saying, we don't mind taking care of our own stuff. I think the biggest thing that we're looking at is how do we actually fund this? How do we make sure that we're not burdening everybody else with this repair? You got it?
Can I make a motion?
Oh, is that what you're doing?
No, we're still under discussion real
Well,
quick.
you're supposed to make a motion before you go to the discussion.
Did you have any questions about what we're talking
Well,
about?
no, because all we're telling Scott to do is go study and get back and tell us, so we don't have to have a detailed discussion, in my mind.
I think the other aspect of this is exploring and determining what legal and financial vehicles are going to be employed and to keep us out of hot water, so to speak.
Well, and the cost of the project's going to have a big play. I really don't know what the scale is,
Yeah.
and depending on how expensive it gets, you can't. There's certain burdens you just can't put on such a limited sized community.
I
So
think we could spend the money to find out what the scope of the project is, but then when it comes time to finance the project, that's where the hurdles could come.
right,
Okay.
that's where we'll have the lengthy debate, Phil.
That's fine. We now leave it.
All right, was there anything else? Okay, would anybody like me to entertain a motion?
I'd like to entertain a motion that the city council off.
But what we had agreed on is that you would, yeah.
You did.
Okay, and I think you're the only one. I know,
Several
but I'm
times.
supposed to recognize you.
Okay, excuse me.
I recognize you.
Thank you. I make a motion, the city council authorize city administrator to research and identify potential solutions for the Creekside subdivision water system as outlined in the petition.
Great, have a motion, do I have a second?
I will second that.
Great, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion passes. I didn't do it right that time. I'll keep on working on it.
Will you back up again?
Nope, we're getting out of here. All right, great. Thank you guys for coming in. Look forward to figuring something out with you. All right, next item, consider and take appropriate action authorizing the city administrator to request proposals for collection services, including municipal court, utilities, hotel motel tax, and sales tax. Scott?
And I'll defer to Deborah because she's been doing the legwork on getting this ready for us.
Well, in the staff report, if you notice, they went out in 1997 originally, the original contract for collections for the utilities in the court. I do know the court is utilizing this service. Utilities, I don't think they have in the last few years. But the same company that we're using currently bought the previous company out. And so the city has not went out that I'm aware of it since 1997. We've had several vendors come in and speak with us at various times to see about earning our business. So since Scott's came on, we decided to put it out there and see what we can get.
Great.
But we're also adding to it. I believe in here it shows the sales tax and hotel motel tax, if there's some that's not being collected.
So with these firms, do they typically, I know like with the hotel motel tax, they will identify who's actually operating. Do they do the same thing with the sales tax, or do we know?
So on the sales tax side, a lot of times what they'll do is help you with an audit to see if you are paying as a municipality any sales taxes that you shouldn't be, because your sales tax is in. That's usually as far as that goes. The state, I don't know if they actually do an audit of sales tax payers and then try to collect sales tax. It'd be more on where are we paying sales tax we shouldn't be. At least that's what I've seen done in the past.
Okay. All right. Does anybody want me to entertain a motion?
I got a question first.
Okay.
Several years ago, we had this discussion about how much outstanding money there is. And I remember a figure of $3 million. This was like 5 years ago. Is anybody in the city, can they give us a rough estimate of money? What are we talking about here that's not being collected?
I don't think it's that high. So our utility billing department does a lot of its own collections, our folks up front, and they do a decent job, but we write off tens of thousands of dollars every year in utility collections. So that's the scope, that would be the scope of collections is tens of thousands in the 10 to $40,000 range, I would imagine, somewhere there for utility billing. For municipal court, 60 to 90,000 maybe, for collectible fines on an annual basis that we would need. A lot of, there's about that much that gets paid on its own. Somewhere, in the $100,000 range gets paid on its own, but there's somewhere in that same magnitude between 60 and 100 that needs to be collected through warrants. And I don't know what our current backlog is.
Well, I know previously, and you're probably thinking back, there's probably about 2 million in warrants, old warrants.
But I don't know how many of those
Collected
are
some,
collectible.
but-
I mean, so that's part of what I want to have done, is I want to have a new firm come in, and I've done this a couple times at prior cities where we changed firms, and one of the reasons we did that was just to keep them honest and get them to go after some of the stuff that's a little bit harder, because they're going to get paid on a percentage basis of what they collect. So.
And we have warrants from 20 years ago.
Right.
And we have them active, they're active, but since we have lost our warrant officer, because that was originally what we had Mr. Wagner for, and he was very good at it when he first got here, and he was pursuing it. And of course, now that we don't have one, between him and the collection agency, and hopefully the new one, I think they'll go out a little more aggressive. So,
I found that if you do it once every 3 to 5 years, you'll get, people get, the collection agency tends to get a little bit comfortable. After about 3 to 5 years, your percentage of collections diminishes. And then you need to go out to get someone else to come in, and they'll go get that backlog because they're hungry and they want to get that. So,
and our current collection agency, I believe, is not a, I guess, legal firm as far as
I don't know.
attorneys. Where some of the ones that have talked to us, I believe they do have them on staff to where it looks a little more intimidating, I guess.
Okay. Great.
I got a question. Okay. Is there anything we can put in the RFP that states we do like an annual review of the company's performance if they're not being as proactive as they should be?
one of the things I want them to provide is monthly and quarterly reports. So
Okay.
that'll be something that we aren't getting currently that,
Just do like an
again,
annual.
typically in the past, in other places I've worked, I've gotten monthly and quarterly reports on collections. And I'm not getting that because we don't have collections for any intents and purposes for anything except for courts. And the
Right.
one we have for courts really hadn't been very active at all, so.
I was just seeing if we're allowed to put
Absolutely.
an annual review and put a clause in there that
I
if
think
they're
if
not
you,
performing,
You put it as part of the contract.
yes, ma'am. Yes,
and I
ma'am.
think it's
Okay.
actually built into the proposal.
Well, in the contract we have currently, it's a 30-day dismissal. I mean, with,
Okay.
a 30-day, yes.
That way we'll hold their feet to the fire.
Mhm.
So, okay.
Great, yeah.
And one other question related to that. I guess inventory of the hotel motel tax and related to that, the B&Bs, whatever we call them, are they going to do that inventory or we're going to do that inventory?
The reason that's in there at all is because one of the people that reached out to me said that that's something that they would offer that most places don't. So I'm throwing it out there to see if we get everyone to offer it.
They'll actually do an audit.
Yeah, they do an audit and
Airbnb
inventory.
Vrbo and all those, yeah.
Sounds good.
All right, great. So the recommendation is to have a motion to authorize city administrator to request proposals for collection services for municipal court, utilities, sales tax, and hotel motel tax. Do I have anybody that wants to make a motion?
I move we authorize the city administrator to request proposals for collection services, including municipal court, utilities, hotel motel tax, and sales tax.
And you can also just say so moved. All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
We have to raise our hand if we're going to say second. Sheena was over there raising her hand and I said second. Then I raised your hand.
We'll get this worked out. It'll be a little bit clunky, but we'll get through it.
See, the way we usually do this is after he reads it, I would just say, so moved.
So moved.
Yeah.
I was going to do that.
All right, so next item is discussion, and you're having far too much fun here. Discussion and take appropriate action on awarding a contract for the electrical improvements to River Bluff subdivision. And for this, we have Schneider Engineering.
Yeah, in the agenda, it's, the word sub is missing, but that's all right.
I'm just going to, you'll see in the report, one of the reasons that you don't have the proposal is we wanted to vet that proposal before and reach out to the contractors. So we've done all that between Friday and today. We do have a proposed bidder and a proposed amount. Do you want me to, do you have that written down, or read it?
What's that, the amount?
Yeah, the actual, yes, the proposal. So Greenstone, the contractor is...
Greenstone?
Yeah, I was trying to read the full title, if that's on here. 1 second. Yeah, Greenstone Electrical. And the total bid amount, or the proposed amount is, and this is a lump sum bid, is $1,714,320. $1,714,320. We had originally, in our CIP, we had an amount of $3 million. We really weren't sure what to expect in this market, so we were being a little bit conservative. But this is, I think part of the reason you're seeing the lower, there's two reasons. One, we're buying about $500,000 worth of material. The city's already placed an order for that, so this does not include that material cost. And the other reason is it's in the backyards instead of the front yards. So you may recall that we were anticipating a slightly higher cost if we went in the front yards. And I think we're realizing some savings by having a contractor that's willing to put it in the backyard. So
I think another thing that attributes to some of those cost savings is also that we're not phasing it out. We're constructing everything at once instead of breaking it up into different parts. So that's helped.
So we originally,
some of the cost.
there were how many total phases?
5.
5. So just keep in mind, the original phase 1 we thought was about 680,000. We're doing all 5 phases for just for around 2.2 million total between material cost and the cost of this contract.
So is this phase 1 of 5, or?
No, this is it. This does the whole project.
Completing the entire
Everything.
subject.
And what this tells you, I mean, what that does is we will have some money that sooner than later we could actually start looking at engineering and designing the country village improvements, because we expect to have to do something very similar in a very similar scope in that project. So having, you know, roughly $800,000 left over, we're going to be able to do some of that.
Great.
So this was advertised through Civcast. There's approximately 39 downloads of the plans that were created, which was a great outcome. Of those 39, about 8 of them are general contractors. And so out of that 8 contractors, we only had 1 bid. I did follow up with all those guys. Some of them, no response. One was located in Houston, so he didn't want to travel to Castroville. Another one was because of the complexity of the projects. And so there, out of the 8 contractors, there's only 3 that were actually qualified to do the work, and one was declined because of complexity of the project, and then the other one was because of location within their, coming from Houston. So, and Greenstone is located in New Braunfels, so they were the only bid that came. So,
Are we confident in their ability? Have they been vetted out?
so we've worked with them in the past on other projects. I checked their qualifications, talked to other people. I feel like they would be. I'd feel confident that they would be able to complete that work. They have experience with doing that type of work, rehab projects and stuff like that. They assisted in some of the design idea for doing back lot, construction. So they've helped out, and so they're kind of familiar with it already. And I've worked with them previously on other projects. So.
And we verified the scope with them?
I'm sorry?
We verified that there's nothing missing from the scope, that they've captured the entire scope of what we need?
Yeah, I believe we've captured the entire scope. It is a lump sum bid. We do have a clause in there to say if we need to increase or decrease the number of units that are actually being constructed, that can modify with the number of units actually being constructed. So,
And we don't anticipate that happening. We've tried to
everything's been added up, and during
double check and
construction,
triple check.
things can happen. It's a little bit fluid.
In our neighborhood,
It's a little bit fluid, so we've captured all the scope though.
Okay. Did anybody have any questions for him?
I know we've been receiving materials and everything. The guys give me an update from electrical when they come into the store. When are we looking at kickoff?
The kickoff of the project, so we're waiting for materials. and
At least
some-
8 months.
Some of those materials had a 52-week
Mm-hmm.
lead time, some of them 70 months on the materials. So we're waiting for materials before they actually kick off the project.
Okay,
So
So we're
probably
locked in with that
start of the
amount.
project won't be happening until probably 2023-ish.
but this amount is locked in with the contractor?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the idea. Is I wasn't sure what, honestly, I think I told you, I wasn't sure what we're going to get.
Right.
Because if I was a contractor, I don't know how I'd bid it. Because
Yeah.
I'm talking about, try it. But as Chris was explaining to me, this particular contractor, it actually works out for them because they are busy. They can't do it right now even if they want to. And they
Right.
actually are tied up for a little while. So this is actually, it kind of worked out. It's a
Okay.
win-win. But I would expect mobilization not to take place any sooner than 8 or 9 months from now.
Okay,
And the only reason I say that is there's a couple of items that we might be able to, depending on where we are
Oh, yeah.
from the manufacturers and the lead time, and if we're getting positive feedback on delivery, we might actually be able to mobilize and get them started without having absolutely everything on hand.
okay.
They're supposed, and within the bid document, they're supposed to complete the project within October 2024.
Right?
Right.
All right, no other questions for him? All right, so.
I know
Just like to
who
add-
wants to make the motion.
I'd just like to add also that this contractor is taking all liability and responsibility for any workmanship, and anything that happens, damages that are incurred are on the contractor.
Nice.
A warranty, yeah. very good.
Yes.
All right, so. Okay.
That's the amount.
Oh, gotcha. All right, so I think that the motion is to approve, so is it,
The motion would be to award a contract not to exceed $1,714,320 to, what did I say,
Greenstone
Greenstone
Electric
Electrical.
in New Braunfels.
all right? Would anybody like to make that motion?
Got me right here.
Sheena would? That's strange.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Gee. All right, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the awarding of contract with Greenstone Electric in New Braunfels
For an amount not to
for
exceed.
the amount not to exceed $1,714,320.
Right. Do I have
I'll
a second?
second that.
Right on. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Woo-hoo.
Still a
Thank
long time
you.
coming.
Thank you, Chris.
Still a long time yet to
Thank you.
come.
I'd say a long time ago yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, but we got it though.
It's been a while, yeah.
We have made
All right, great.
progress.
Thanks,
We
Chris.
have, and it's paid for, all of it. That's the beauty.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, next item is consider and take appropriate action on applications submitted for open positions on city boards and commissions. See, right now, we just have the ones for,
Well, in the package, you have the 3 applicants that was
Right.
from the last time on P and Z, and then we have the 1 applicant, which is the student, excuse me, that has
For the library
requested
board.
for the library position, the student representative. And of course, that's the second board.
great. So let's talk about planning and zoning first. I said this last time, I think that we need to make sure that we're getting people on here that have, as we have multiple applicants, and I think it's great that we have multiple applicants, but as we start getting multiple applicants, we need to take a look at which ones are best qualified, most cooperative, the ones that will add to the quality that the boards are putting out. So, does anybody have any questions or want to discuss the applicants that we have here, or would you like, sorry?
I'm sorry, I had one other thing. I know last time y'all asked about doing a poll of the board to see who, if all were going to resubmit. Everyone, which was Priscilla, Larry Robertson, Jim Welch, I can't remember who I sent out now, I'm so sorry.
Jennifer
Jennifer.
Basinger?
Yes. All of, I have not heard back from Mr. Robertson, which I don't know if he's out of town, but everyone has told me that they would be resubmitting. Of course, that's the end of June when that term comes up, so.
Okay.
Oh, it was Kyle McVeigh. I'm sorry, one of them was her, and she's going to re up me.
Okay, great. And was there any recommendation from the board on the applicants?
No, they have not met
Okay.
for that suggestion. And depending on how y'all do this, I think in the past, normally you would look at the open position of possibly moving the alternate up to fill the full board, and then have a new person come on as an alternate, and that way they can kind of get a feel for the board. But that's strictly up to you. I do know in the board itself, if you was to do that, the person as an alternate is Kyle McVeigh, was a long term. Her term comes up at the end of June anyway. Now, this position goes through the 2023. So it's really basically a one-year term for the full board.
So our options are in order of what we have. We have the alternate, Kyle McVeigh, and her qualification is that she shows up, and she is
She's been on there a long
involved.
time.
And she's been on there a long time. I mean, it's
And she's a
speaking
council
to,
person.
it's speaking to
For her.
commitment. So, and I think this is something that's important. Michael Schmidt, I don't know that he served on boards, but he was in Public Works. Jacob Posey, who is an engineer and local resident, and then Marcus Fuentes, who also shows up and has been involved.
And he's on 2 different boards right now. So.
And he's on 2 different boards
Yeah,
right
he's
now.
on, he's a board person.
Do I have a motion? Anybody wants to provide a motion?
I move we,
Wait, I didn't check with him.
I thought you gave me the nod.
I'm just kidding. Please. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
I move we appoint Jacob Posey for position number 4 on Planning and Zoning Commission.
Do you have a second? Motion dies for lack of a second. Do I have another motion?
I make a motion that we move Kyle McVeigh up to the open slot, and then we put Marcus Fuentes as the alternate.
Great. Do I have a second? Motion dies for lack of a second.
I'll try.
Third
Do I
time's
have
a
a
charm.
motion?
I will also move that we advance Kyle McVeigh to the permanent seat on the Planning and Zoning Commission and bring Mr. Posey on as the alternate.
Great. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Great. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
So I've got
So
a tie. So
That's right.
it's
So the mayor
Guess
casts
who
the
gets to fix that?
And let me make sure, I've got a first and a second, Carrie Dyer for Kyle McVeigh to be moved up to the full board, and Mr. Posey to be put in as an alternate.
That was the motion, yes.
Okay.
Aye.
I'm sorry.
And the mayor cast
Aye.
an
Oh,
aye vote.
Okay.
No, I'm not volunteering.
That's
for the
also,
board.
that's also, let's say that's also, what do you call it? Pirate for,
Aye.
yes. Yes.
When was the last time the mayor had to vote on a tie?
It's been a while.
I don't like having to vote.
Well, Todd left, so we can blame him.
Yeah.
It's all Todd's fault.
Thanks, Todd.
All right, so now library, or,
Yeah.
All right, and then the next one is the library board.
We only have one candidate?
Right, she's a student rep, and that's
Yeah.
all, she would not be voting. I do have, well, and of course, this will be the next meeting, I do have an application that's been sent in after the Lovejoy Library, and so this person will be wanting to be put on full board, so.
Nice.
So, but this student position, they come and, of course, represents the school district and keeps us in touch with them, but they don't vote.
Yeah, it did not say student applicant or student's position on this application, so I was very confused when I read it
Oh, I
because
apologize.
the person is without a personal phone and is a non-voter in District 5. So but the fact that it's a student makes all the difference.
I apologize. I should have marked that.
So
All right. Do I have a motion on that,
I would love to make a motion.
please?
I move that we appoint Carissa Cesar, I guess you pronounce that, to our open student position on the library board.
Great. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second.
I think Sheena had the first second, is that all right?
Yes.
The first second, you got the second second.
I said second. No.
I got her down first.
All right, great. You got a first and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Sorry, I walked on you.
Gee, let me get my cane here, you know. That's all good.
Speak loud.
All right.
Really?
Next item is staff reports. Any questions on the staff reports?
There were some questions submitted by Councilman Dyer, which fortunately I didn't get to respond to until about 4:45. So if you didn't check your email between 4:45 and 5, it'll be there when you get back. The questions were related to Alsatian Oaks and some of the reports, some of the items that were in the Public Works report. I'll be honest, I had to go reread it to find what you're referring to, because I was like, I don't know what he's talking about. But there were questions about the gas and water and sewer lines out there, and whether or not there were any concerns with schedule. The short answer to most of those questions were no, that there was not a concern that things were being addressed, but a longer answer has been provided in an email. Chuck Norris shot down a plane by pointing his finger and saying bang.
But I sent out and said that Brianna Soto, her report beat out Chuck Norris.
Yes, you saw her
Tremendous.
report with her
With her new baby.
newborn. Yeah,
Nice.
newborn.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Under the code enforcement, who are we having going out to serve the warrant, since our warrant officer?
It's a great question, and I talked to our police chief about this. I probably need to have a meeting with the mayor, the judge, and the police chief to talk about enforcement and how enforcement works in the city. It's not something I necessarily want to have a dialogue about right now or publicly, because there's a limit, depending on the nature of the violation, enforcement options are limited. So, the short answer is, I don't know. I think if it's a police matter, we'd get a police officer to go out there and act as our, basically it's the court's deputy, if you look at it
Right.
that way.
Okay.
But we don't have a designated person,
Because one of the locations is our favorite house down in Geneva.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because
Yep.
people ask me all the time, and I'm like, I know the city's working it. I know
Yeah,
it.
so the story on that particular instance, as it's been reported, is it went to municipal court, the person did not show up
Yep.
for trial.
Yep.
And so warrants were issued, and I think
Correct.
3 or 4 warrants were issued.
Yes,
But then the question, then it's the next stage.
right.
Who serves them?
Who serves them? Okay,
Right.
thank
And then
you.
what happens after they've been served.
Exactly.
I was going to say, I compliment that the code enforcement reports, it was very clear, the list and the explanations behind it, so that was.
Yeah, you still have to play a little bit of tic-tac-toe, because you've got the list with the case numbers and all the explanation, and then below it, you have the Excel that has the
You'll
same
find
case
the- find
numbers.
the
You've got
address.
to marry the two up, but hopefully, yeah.
I printed one and looked at the other one. so-
All right.
We think alike.
Yeah.
And then I got on the map and looked on the map where they were, and then, but also all the reports, they were all,
Good.
I enjoyed they were very clear.
Yes,
Good.
I appreciated Carl's report as well.
Yep.
I had an observation more than a question on the police department report, and that was that they had 111 traffic stops, but 133 citations or warnings. I didn't know how that worked out.
Was one person
More
that
than
get 3.
One person did get 3,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah,
All right,
if
that
you-
answers my
Speeding,
question.
running red
No
light,
license,
yeah.
light busted, and you're speeding.
Okay.
That's never happened to me.
I withdraw the observation.
Councilman King, I know he wanted to bring up something. Do you mind just covering that?
Yeah,
Since you brought it up?
it was several in the earlier one, and then also in Devin's report related to parks. But you know, the annual, the Backyard Bluegrass Concert, I'd like to give it a shout out to, well, Arnie Hill, but also that's Pat Moran's. You know, he's the one who was the original thought process there.
Those guys are all his old friends.
They're coffee buddies. So, but Pat also, that's, and I know he was the one who got Tennessee Valley Authority here, and Arnie's shaking his head back there, so, but yes, I think we need to really give a shout out to Pat for coming up with that idea and being the backbone behind that.
Actually, a couple of guys from the TVA said that Pat fired them.
Oh,
Twice. You fired him twice.
yeah, that's probably true.
But they're still friends.
They're still friends, yeah.
I could tell some stories from Pat also, but I'm not going to. But he told me.
Yeah, he has done a lot, and that's one of them. And like this year, $6,400 was brought in from silent auction. It was the largest turnout ever. He's done some great things for this place.
And you'll see, there's kind of 3 reports in there that look a little bit different than they were last month, but the airport report continues to evolve. I think that's kind of the final evolution, what you're seeing. The way the graphs are laid out, the information. So hopefully that is in a format that you like, because that's kind of what we've come up with. You'll notice the library report mimicked it a little bit, but she put her own spin on it, and you'll see little graphs of people and some other things. So again, any feedback that you have about what that looks like and the interpretation of it, and if it's the right information in the right format, that's always what we're looking for. And then the Parks report, they also improved. I think it's not, you can see some of the numbers, but the idea is, just it looks a little bit like a brochure, the way that you did it. So trying to, again, I think staff has been responding very well to trying to give you meaningful information as policymakers. You can see what's being done, what the cost is, where your invested dollars are going, and what the results are. That's the idea.
And we also got Steve Rihanna.
Yes.
He's adorable.
So,
He takes after his dad.
Quick
well,
question.
the dad's not adorable, but all the others.
I got a real quick question. On the streets and drainage, I was talking about that the contractor has to come back to fix a couple of areas. If I'm reading this right?
That's done.
Okay,
That actually, I got an update this afternoon that there was only one item that was still outstanding, and that got taken care of today. So
Okay.
that is, the Berlin Street project is 100% complete. The only thing that may happen in the future is we may go ahead and seal coat. We opted not to do it this time. It's about a $20,000 cost. And we just didn't see it as necessary. Phil and multiple engineers have looked at it. We're going to see how it performs over the summer when it gets a lot hotter. And next fall, if we think it's necessary, we'll come back, revisit it, and potentially seal coat it at that time.
Well, if I can correct you, because Scott and I were talking to Terracon, the engineers, it may be, if you get a really hot days, you'll get a tarry surface will come up. So the decision may be made to put a lime coat on it. So you'll squirt lime water on it, and what the lime does is sucks up the oil. And then in a few years, we'll do the seal coat.
And I guess I got a copy of a very thankful, from a very thankful constituent who finally got some issues taken care of in his yard. So.
Yes. And he got an email back from me. Okay.
Thanks. All right, anything else?
I'm sorry, I believe you were going to make a correction, is that correct?
yes, thank you. Earlier, when I was doing the Parks Board report for the check from Fitwell that was presented to Friends of Regional Park, I accidentally said $3,000 check was presented. It's $300 check presented. Either way,
Wow.
money was prevented.
It's nice how you give away Alice's money.
It's still better than zero.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Something's better than
Nice.
nothing. Yeah, so that's the correction. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you. All right, next item is discussion on future agenda items.
I'd like to have a discussion at the next, well, I won't be here, but I'd like you to have a discussion at the next meeting
Yeah, that's not fair.
of 2 elevated pedestrian crossings over Highway 90, one at Fiorella Street and one at Constantinople. I think those are needed, and I'd start to like to get that on the radar and see if there's any interest.
Oh, there's plenty of interest.
Does that should go as a part of our overall city planning though, right?
Could be done at the workshop.
It'd be
Yeah.
next time we'd have
And
to
that
do
would also
that.
be mobility and transportation.
Okay, all right. Are you going to be at the Traffic Coalition tomorrow? I can bring it up to him, just mention it.
No, I'm not, I have another meeting in the park.
Okay, cool. Well, we can bring it up with him. We've been talking to TxDOT about a bunch of different improvements that might be able to be made in different areas, and so hopefully after the meeting tomorrow, we'll have some better updates on that, but I'll keep that as a note, and maybe we can go over that. Anything else from you?
No, thank you.
Councilman Key?
No, I'm happy so far.
Not I didn't realize that the traffic meeting was tomorrow. I'm leaving tomorrow morning for something out of town, so I won't.
Well, it's not a stated meeting, so we have to be careful who all attends.
Okay.
So it's good.
Nothing other.
Perfect.
Can we start having a wag of when we're going to start doing the financial part planning? When those meetings are and everything?
Yes,
Yeah, we
there
have to-
is we did put a tentative calendar, I think, in the, not this packet, but the packet before last, so the April 12th meeting maybe, but I'll send that back out.
Okay, please.
Our workshop is scheduled for May 31st and June 1st, those 2 days. It's a
And my
Monday and
attendance is
Tuesday.
tentative.
And so that honestly, that'll probably be the first real look that we have
Okay.
as staff with the council on a budget.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, thank you.
Yep.
Great. All right, so with that, we are through the agenda and adjourned at 7:14.
You all owe us $1.
All right, fair enough.
I thought it was 7. I thought it was 7.
Finished before, between 6:30 and 7. Between 6:30 and 7, I owe her $1.
It's not
After 7, you all owe us $1.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I know.